Pretty nice secret stock we have here. Quite a lot of tone wood. These two pieces, 6/4 mahogany. I've got a plan for these. Welcome to Dave's World. So these two I found, they were 8/4 material, but I planed them down to 1.5 inches. So what we're gonna do is glue them together and get a nice body blank going here. We're gonna put a top on this guitar, but I'm not sure what yet. So next morning, I thought about this one all night long. I picked out a good piece of maple from our secret stock, and I have it over here. We'll surface this today and get the body going, but I'm going to cut out the neck blanks a while. These are our exotic tone woods. I have our 1.5 inch body. We have our flame maple neck. This is our top, which is also the same mahogany. I just simply resawed it off of here. We'll hollow this out first. And then our beautiful rosewood fingerboard. I know, but I do specific chambers in specific places, so it sounds a particular way. A 1/4 inch top. I'm gonna sand these down a little, get them totally flat, and then we'll be able to like book match. So I've kind of consolidated our work piece. It's quite the thin line. What we'll do is glue these down. They're very thin and very flat and jointed just perfectly on that edge. So we'll bring them all together and clamp them up. It's tough to do this end film. So. Quite a bit of clamps here. But that's okay, we got it done. This will sit for a day, and then we'll take off the clamps and we'll we'll run it through the sander and get everything really flat. But you want even squeeze out all the way around with your glue up. We'll continue on. I'll just kind of let the monstrosity sit, and that'll be that. This book matched mahogany is sweet. Get it super flat. Have some predetermined markings all over the place. We'll lay those out, and then we'll be able to cut up everything and get this looking a little bit more like a guitar. It's nice that the chambering's all done, and it does sound completely hollow. Like going through the sander, you can actually hear the vibrations off of it, as opposed to just a regular slab of wood. So pretty interesting. So a few more passes with our super sander. Kind of let this neck sit for a few days after we initially sanded it. Put in our truss rod here. This is that nice double-way, two-way rod. Very cool. Our super saw with the 3/8 blade and cut this thing out. It's gonna look just like a guitar, I swear. Official Stu Mac fret scale. We're gonna do a 25.5 inch scale on this one. Our slab rosewood board is really glued on nice. We have our nice square edge here, so we're going to work off of that. I do cut the frets with one of those saw blades. I just skim them. I usually don't show that, but I don't go that deep. We'll end up doing the final depth with our super saw later, but we're just going to draw the lines now. To do this right takes hours. I mean, it really does. To sand a body and neck entirely, and I'm not saying just wet sanding, but like to actually whitewood sand a mahogany body with a maple neck, it's a tremendous amount of work, and I really love it. I'm the finisher or the paint guy in like an industrial cabinet shop for years. Believe me, I did my fair share of whitewood sanding too. I don't know, it's just relaxing doing this with a guitar. It is like not overwhelming. I don't know. I've had people reach out and say like, "Oh, the sanding, is it really that enjoyable?" And it's like, well, yeah, it's pretty much just this guitar body, and it's a ton of fun. Laying these dots out, we're going to go with the regular, like, perloid dots, but I have something special for this guitar neck that I'm going to do finish-wise that'll still be really interesting and maintain the figured maple, but it's just going to be really interesting. Something the Fender Custom Shop would do and then, like, age it, but we're not going to age it. We're going to radius our fretboard. It is obviously tremendously flat. We'll fix that with a 12-inch radius. The discs off the sander, sandpaper stuck on here. Works really good. It almost feels like a guitar. So this is our wire. It's actually a pretty deep tooth here on these, so we have our depth set. It's super highly sanded and polished, so it looks really, really good. You kind of trap the fretboard once you put these in, so it kind of has to be finished before the rest of the neck. Our fret smusher, but I'm just going to whack these in. The actual depth of cut and the width is so perfect for this fret. They just knock in so easy, and it's just not really a problem. If they're too tight, they can crack the board or stress the neck. And of course, if they're too loose, well, then you have a problem. But these really are just perfect. More. Actually, 19. I love the drill press as my favorite tool, but this attachment is really cool. Really nice flame maple. Be interesting to see how this carves. Here today, our workbench is totally a wreck, so we'll just make it a little worse. Start with our super file. I haven't done a big neck in a long time, like a chunky neck. It's been probably about, I would say it's been about 15, 20 guitars since I've done a big neck, so we're gonna do one now. There's other ways, certainly other ways you can make necks, like on a sander, you can like roll them like at Fender. Something about filing them has a real natural feel, and that's exactly what I'm going for. So this is just kind of the way I feel like it should be, but it's a lot of fun carving these. Have our nails, so it's suspended when we spray it. We're going to take this to the spray shop. Like I said, we're going to do a wild finish on this one. Well, sort of wild. But we have to seal it first and pour fill it, so we'll do that in a while. Spray shop, my natural habitat, of course. We'll do our pour filling for the kids across the street just keep blowing stuff up. They were in the city, so they set off fireworks in the street. It's like being in a third world country. Welcome to Reading, Pennsylvania. We're gonna pour fill this and get it going. It's gonna be super nice and really great. There's been a lot of really high quality woodworking projects over the last 100 years done in this city of Reading, but it is what it is now. We're sunbursting the body and we're sunbursting the neck. Hit it up with our pour filler. This is kind of grayer on the camera. It's more like a light Bordeaux. We're gonna put this back on and get these totally filled. It dries in the pores really hard, and it's really an effective way to get a smooth paint job. We're gonna spray our burst, body and neck. I know it's kind of obscure, but I think it'll be cool. We are leaving the headstock natural, kind of going for that Fender custom shop thing. I thought it kind of was cool. Binks 2100 series. This is basically doing whatever you want. Right now it's in airbrush mode. So, I mean, it's obvious. I still act just like a child. And as far as like maturing or being like, you know, an adult, I'm not really all that good at that. I can remember back in the early 2000s, I started playing guitar in 2001. So my father would take me down to like the Philly Guitar Show at like Fort Washington. And I mean, it was still to this day like the greatest day of my life going to those shows. But I can remember, you know, not knowing a lot about guitars, but still knowing enough and being a guitar player. You know, you're like 12 years old and you pick up like the Strat and it just feels different than the ones you've played before. Then you flip it over and the back of the headstock like says somebody's name on it and it's Fender Custom Shop Master Build. There's a big difference. You know, Fender Custom Shop guitars were just absolutely incredible. Just so much more focused on like players and not necessarily just like cranking out the same guitar a million times over. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go back to that that feeling of when you flip the guitar over and you see like J.W. Black or John English or something on the headstock, and it's like, what's this all about? And why is this one so much better than the other ones? A lot of these people are just loving these guitars. This one, I kind of texted a couple of our customers and was like, what do you think we should do with this? They were like, let's do the ultimate Sunburst. We're just going to stick it on reverb.com, but it's just fun. Definitely really enjoy this. This thing's going to be awesome. Putting our marker down on our frets here. We're going to buff everything and get it really nice. You can kind of see the sheen. Really cool. I did want to do like a Sunburst like this for a while, but I couldn't decide on the headstock. So. Some wet sanding. This is super satisfying seeing that substrate just get flatter and flatter. The really small crevices in the lacquer just slowly flattening and getting just absolutely perfect. We're going to go through the grits. We'll get to the point where it is pretty much like glass. Then we'll hit it up with our Lehr Instruments Custom Shop, Meguiar's buffing technique. So really cool. Love doing this. It's just one of my favorite parts. So tedious. And it's just all coming together now. Super cool. You know how I feel about them. The customers love them. I seem to prefer the water slides, but I don't know. And then it's like the first few dozen guitars at this point. It's truly taken over my life, and that's awesome. But I've always been curious about doing this. I never thought I would do it early on. I thought it would just be too much work, but it's like too much fun. So we're going to have some fun. This one is getting the 42 gauge wire, and it's going to be like our vintage staggered Alnico 5. Let's set up our machine and have at it. This is a ton of fun. Wax pot our guitar pickups. So they're done. Really proud of how these turned out. These are to like vintage Fender specs. We're not going crazy yet. As we mature, we'll probably go crazy. But as of now, these are just Alnico 5s wound to Fender specs. Vintage like 1956, 57 specs. So... Whoa, this is way too big. Let's fix it. Six, 7. It'll be pretty good, vintage. We'll go ahead and wire this one up. It's going to be really cool with the snack on it. Really excited about it. It is pretty much the ultimate Sunburst. And we're going to take this one to our home track, the Winter Circle Saloon, for the gig tonight. So our pick guard, really nice. Neck and everything's on. I'm going to go ahead and work on the nut. We'll get this thing ready. This one sounds good. Like a true, like, kind of real country club. It's been up here for decades, and you know, I've played here for a long time too. So we're gonna go in here and check. We're all set up here at the gig. I'm here early, so this is like a restaurant. There's the sign, pretty cool. I have our ultimate Sunburst, and we're sitting here. I'm gonna get wild, but yeah, it's a pretty old place. So we're just gonna continue on. So a solid run here for our classic Sunburst. This guitar is pretty punchy and it has a lot of clarity, so definitely enjoy playing this one. We'll isolate it better back at the Really awesome at the gig. Really loved the tonal vibrance of this one. It really stands out in a band, and it really kind of has like a not an overdriven, overwound sound, but it's got clarity and definition, but it also has bite. Let's listen to it in the Mesa Boogie. So our ultimate Sunburst. Some smudges on the finish, but we'll clean that really well. A really cool flamed maple on this one. The neck looks fantastic. I just love it. Really nice gloss finish, and that chambered body sounds so good. Bridge pickup first and foremost, it's got with the tone control just down slightly. Neck pickup is really doesn't have that Strat spank, but it doesn't really have like that Telecaster kind of blah sound either. The way that I wound this pickup, and also the fact that it's, you know, semi-hollow, I think that construction really warms it up. Still has clarity though. Reverse wound reverse polarity for hum cancellation. If you have a really bitey bridge pickup, which this one really isn't, but it can get that way, and kind of a little bit of a warmer neck pickup, the middle position is just absolutely awesome on these guitars. It's a great tone. Pretty awesome at the gig and here in isolation with our Mesa Boogie. I love our guitar and, well, these pickups too. I know it's one of the first sets we've done for our guitars. Really good. Really proud of this one. The neck on it's that nice baseball bat feel. We're going to list this one on reverb.com on our store. I'm going to try and build up a little bit of an inventory here. I love doing the custom orders. It's been going really great. I don't object to doing more. It does take a little more time to do them as opposed to kind of making something like this that I can just improvise along the way, make it how I want, and sell on Reverb. So we'll be doing more of these. Really cool guitar, really proud of how it turned out. So kind of the ultimate chambered body, sort of thin line in my mind, especially without the F-hole, and the Sunburst neck is just a little bit extra cool factor. So thanks for visiting Dave's World.